Hi, everyone. Welcome. We'll wait a few minutes while everybody joins.
Wait, Annie, are people even coming in here, or is it just?
Oh, they are. No, absolutely. The participant. You don't have to worry about the participant number, but it is going up and up, so people are joining, and we'll just wait till it plateaus, and then we will begin. Yeah, they are joining. That's the magic of a webinar, right?
Right.
Can't see them, but they are here. So I personally can't wait for the chat to begin. So I think probably I will begin at least my intro part of it. So good evening. I'm Annie Mcrae. I'm Atlantic's Associate Artistic Director. And we are so thrilled to have you all with us tonight. I first met DJ Reborn, AKA Robin, 3 years ago at our closing night of The Homecoming Queen, our production. And I became totally obsessed with Robin's work. And that same year, I became further obsessed because I saw Sinking Ink with McKenzie Frye, which was an incredible production with these two women. So tonight, we are going to have a conversation. Mackenzie's going to ask Robin a few questions about Sinking Ink and other projects she's working on. So I'm so excited, and I'll turn it over to you two. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Annie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. Robin, thank you. Thank you. I have to start, I have like questions galore, but I have to start with gratitude. You know, in prepping for this, you know I know you, but I wanted to like do my homework and research and like look at, all the work that you've done, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind because it reminded me of the infinite possibilities that exist and how everything is possible. And I was like, theater, art, music direction, education, creative writing, mentoring, your community work. Like, you have built a life of service through your love for music, and I greatly appreciate what you've done. I'm completely inspired. I'm motivated to be all that I can be, even more. And I'm glad to see and know someone that's living and breathing and that's just doing it and knocking it out, and also taking up space gracefully and with sophistication. And I admire you, and with style. So thank you for being in my space. Thank you for being in my life. I also have to mention, I have to speak on your character for showing up for me in one of the most devastating moments of my life. Just showing up with bags of food to feed me for days when I lost my mom, for showing up with a bottle for me to sip on, for sitting with me and being with me like a sister and a friend, for not having known me as long as a whole lot of people, but you showed up for me. So I'm very glad to be here with you today. I'm very glad to express my gratitude to you in front of all these people. I hope they know how great you are, and I know they know all the wonderful things that you do, but I want them to know the wonderful person that you are, and the wonderful person you've been in my life, and why I'm proud and honored to be here to ask you questions, however bizarre they may be. So thank you, top. Thank you.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I know it's a lot, and I got tissues here.
First of all, Mackenzie, why am I already crying?
I'm sorry, because first things first, respect the folks that pour into you. Respect the folks that light you up and encourage you. So thank you. So thank now you. I got to ask you.
Wait, but can I just say, first of all, Mackenzie, thank you so much. I can't, why mascara? Why? So that's first. But I just thank you for that. I wasn't expecting that. I should have expected it, knowing you and knowing your heart and your brilliance and your character. And I'm just gonna say the thing that I feel like is so important, especially in this time, is that for us to be in this conversation as two Black women, I want us to have a conversation because your brilliance has inspired me as much as you tell me that mine has inspired you. And I wish we had more time for people to really know our real connection. But McKenzie is like, whatever is past a triple threat, however, like, I don't know how to enumerate the things that you do beautifully and brilliantly. And I don't know, like, just you're such a spiritual conduit for all the gifts that you were born with. And it's one of my most favorite things about you is like, you can act, you can dance, you can rhyme, you can like reorganize, you can set, decorate, like you're the, whatever people call the full package and the threat of many, whatever, well, I don't know why people call that a threat, but I just want to acknowledge that to be in conversation with you as another Black woman, another Midwestern Black woman, shout out to Detroit, where you're from, shout out to Chicago, where I'm from. Yes. We both have had uncharted paths in theater and art. That for us as brown skinned girls and thinkers and weirdos is like very interesting and unique. So I'm just grateful to have this conversation with you specifically. And thank you for making me cry, which is my nature anyway as a Cancerian. But thank you for making me cry immediately and for that reverence. And I just want you to know I return it back to you tenfold. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, truly. Shit. Robin, I have to know, as a fellow lover of music, I got to hit you with the brown sugar question, but alter it. When did you fall in love with it? When did music just, when did you fall in love with music? What's the trajectory? When did you know that you wanted to have a life in service to music and using music as a service? So when did you fall in love, and what are the steps to deciding that this is going to be the path of my life to, commit to service through music? Involvement, engagement in music, I'm saying.
That's a great question. Thank you. I think like so many of us that use music as a healing tool in our arsenal, right? Our toolbox of things that we have access to that no one can tell us we can't enjoy or use. Like, I think just from a super young age, and I'm grateful to be from a family of music lovers and DJs and musicians. And I think for me, music was such a refuge. There's a poem by, God, is it Maya Angelou? God, I'm forgetting everybody, but there's a poem about getting in between the notes, like how you can snuggle in between the notes of music. And that's just something that I had from early on, and I think that that's just such a relatable thing about music. So I can't remember a time when that wasn't a part of my life. But to your question about how I use it, how I hopefully use it in service, is just seeing how it affected people the way that I do what I do, right? And so I think each person that engages in music in a certain kind of way, performatively, has a similar experience where they can acknowledge a response that keeps them going, and that response can be from someone like you, that response can be from someone who's totally different from you. But it's an understanding that you are a channel and a vessel for the things that you enjoy, and you present them as your spirit guides you to. So in service, my hope is that like the way that I let music save me when I was struggling all my life, in all the different stages of my life, I hope that I was able to provide an articulated expression of that, right? So that, as a DJ, I'm not a traditionally trained musician, but as a DJ and as an artist who presents music that I love by other people, I just hope that that resonates and that people run with that the way that they will. And then, you know, of course, again, being a Black woman, seeing Black and brown girls and girls in general respond to seeing me on turntables, to seeing me mixing, to seeing me doing things technically. And then with theater, you know, it's like nobody you know, people expect to see like old white guys in tuxedos, like in an orchestra pit. And for me, working in theater, I got to buck that tradition early on from like, you know, 2001. And actually even before that in the Bay, I did like a little theatrical thing that I don't get to talk about because it's not well documented.
That's what I want to ask you. How did the theater merge? Where did it start? How easy or hard was it? Did it feel like a natural fit? Did you feel that you could take up enough space? Like, did you feel that there was this place for you there? Like, how did it come to be?
I didn't think about whether or not there was a place for me there. I was brought into theater by, so let me give like an OG shout out for when I lived in the Bay to a brother called Mcrae, who I don't even know his last name anymore. God, we just haven't been in touch in years. But the mother of his child, he has a daughter called Messiah, who I think might be like in her 20s now, and her mom, Sybil. But Mcrae was a storyteller. He was like, you know, and back then it was like, you know, I don't know that storytelling was a thing in hip hop culture. I mean, it was, of course, but like he was a theatrical storyteller. So he brought me on to DJ the soundtrack for a story that he had written about like a time traveling Black man called Obadiah. And so that was my first like thing, working with someone storytelling on stage in the Bay where I DJ'd like as an orchestra. And then I moved to New York, and then I have to shout out Will Power, who is a theater maker, an actor, a playwright, and just an all-around amazing person who's also a Bay Area native. And he was doing a one-man show called Flow. And he's moved on to do amazing things since then. But he wanted a DJ as like the sonic storyteller to his one-man show in which he played multiple characters. So it's like people, for whatever reason, saw me as someone who could provide the sonic bedrock for their storytelling theatrically. And I just was like, okay, like it was more of a, maybe like an ignorance, more so than like, I can take up space in theater. I was like, all right, you want me to do that? I think I can do that. Sure, that sounds fun. That's an interesting project. And then from Will Power, I went on to do Def Poetry Jam in their last touring sequence as a theater production. Stan Lathan, who I love, fellow Cancerian. Stan Lathan saw me in a production of Flow and tracked me down and wanted me to be the DJ for Def Poetry. And then Def Poetry led to other things with, artists like Monica Williams and Sanju, Sangu, who we both know from Sinking Ink and before. So it's like, I don't know, I just feel like Black theater makers have always seen me and given me the grace to offer me the opportunity to provide soundtracks for theatrical productions that center Black people. And I'm so grateful for that.
Can you tell me about, there are 3 projects in particular I want to ask you about. I want to ask you about the Female DJ Project. I also want to ask you about your mixtape, where people can send in sound bites or selections of music. And then I want to ask you about, I'm sorry, I'm a multi-layerer, but, and your Veterans Project in Bushwick. Can you fill me in? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So years ago, when I was on tour with Will Power, who I just mentioned, we were in Australia doing his piece Flow. And on the flight back, I had an inspiration, and I don't know, I think people can relate. Like, you guys know when inspiration hits you, like you're in the shower, you're on the train, you're on a plane, you're walking down the street, like something happens where like you're given an assignment And you're like, oh. And then you realize that you have to like follow through.
It's a call. Absolutely.
It's a call. Thank you. Yes, exactly. So I was first called around the Women DJ Project in 2007. And I had an epiphany on a flight home from Australia to do a theatrical production that centered women DJs as storytellers. And we tell our stories through collaborative mixing in and out of each other's stories sonically. And it would always require that each woman would be from a different region of the world or a different background. The only thing that that was a requirement is that everybody was really a DJ. Mm-hmm. So I just think that women DJs have such a unique story to tell because we use music as our vehicle, you know? So I was like, hey, if there's always 4 women in the project, so the project is called For the Record. And there are always 4 women DJs DJing on whatever technological setup works for them. So somebody's, you know, might be on turntables, somebody might be on CDJs, somebody might be just spinning electronically only, but we tell the stories of our lives through these woven musical stories, and then we transition from like our early lives to turning points to aspirational places. Excuse me. So I had the chance to do the show once in 2015 with some DJs that I love and admire that are my friends, DJ Reka, who's of South Asian descent, and she's an activist as well. DJ Lalo, who is an Afro-Latina, also from the Bronx. And also, oh my God, DJ, oh my God, she's gonna kill me right now. Why am I blanking on her name? Mercy, DJ Mercy, who's also of Caribbean descent, and she was in the military and she started DJing while she was in the military. So I just think we just have dope ass stories to tell. And so the idea and my life's work moving forward with that project is that, you know, For the Record is happening all over the world. So if there are women DJs in South Africa, I go over there, I, you know, provide the structure, and then they take over, they tell the stories. We teach workshops in the community, and then we have dance parties in the community. And that's kind of how we wrap everything together. So it's like, while I'm sleeping here in New York, like For the Record is happening all over the world. I don't even want to be in it anymore. Like, I just want women DJs to be able to tell their stories sonically. There's other elements to it, but you know, that's another thing. So that's the project that I feel like I want to be my legacy, really, is like guiding women DJs in the effort to storytell in their unique way, but in a theatrical setting. And not that it has to happen in physical theaters, right? It can happen at a gallery. And now that we live in times where people are sort of being out more, like they can happen at outdoor spaces, like it doesn't, because it's not characters, right? These people are real people. Everyone writes their own little segment, and then we DJ in and out of each other. So that's that. Your second question was about which part?
It was about the mixtape.
Oh yeah,
Mixtape.
Yes. So the Mixtape Movement is a project that I have. Shout out to High Arts NYC. Hey. They commissioned me to do this project where we provide different prompts for different communities every couple of months. And this month's prompt is how artists and activists and community organizers, what is it that they're listening to or referencing sonically that gets them through in order to be able to do their work? And so they submit 3 to 4 segments of music or whatever. It can be original, it can be sound bites, it can just be them like talking into their voice notes. And then I take all of the submissions and I organize them, curate them, and then create a mixtape out of the response from the prompt. So that's the Mixtape Movement, also meant to be a global project, but High Arts is the incubating space for it. And they gave me, you know, the first opportunity to project it, and then it will continue to move on globally. But I'm on my second of 3 mixtape projects with them. And then the project with the Black veterans in Bed-Stuy is with Monica Williams, who is an amazing producer and theater maker and friend. She's doing a project with Bailey's Cafe in Bed-Stuy, and they are telling the stories of Black veterans who have been like in Vietnam or maybe even World War II if they're still alive, coming back to Bed-Stuy after being engaged in military service and absorbing and observing the gentrification in their neighborhoods and seeing how they're being treated as people who have served in war and in service, and then coming back home and having this changing atmosphere around them and them telling their stories. So I'm taking their interviews and sound bites and mixing it with music that is, you know, from their era or from Bed-Stuy, or just like kind of creating sound collages, basically, to tell the stories of the Black veterans in Bed-Stuy in Brooklyn.
So Robin.
Yes.
You're aware that you have committed yourself to a life of community and service.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I mean, just in my next question, before I jump on to this right here.
Yay, singing it.
Right at that, is I want to ask you, do you know what your name means?
Reborn?
No, Robin.
Oh. It meant a lot of strife between me and my parents growing up, because I was like, this is a unisex name. I don't like this. It's boring. But, and I know it's a murder, but what you gonna tell me? Are you frozen? Mackenzie, are you frozen? Oh my God, this is the good part. Mackenzie. Where did you go? I need tech support.
I'm gonna furiously Google what Robin means, but I will not be as extraordinary as Mackenzie. No. So I just hope she comes back, because I want to look up the meaning of your name, but I cannot fulfill the glory of Mackenzie Frye.
So, wait, where did she go? I mean,
she's gonna come. Yeah.
Is she coming back?
I'm gonna just spend time with you, and I'll disappear as soon as she comes back, because the internet woes are. But yeah, I mean, you were just starting to chat a little bit about sinking ink, so maybe shall we kill a little? It feels silly to talk about sinking ink without Mackenzie here, but I will just sort of like fill the gap. And she's back. Yes.
Amazing. Yay! Hi, Boo.
Thank you.
First of all, can I just say that you're one of very few people who froze. Wait, are you freezing again? I was just about to say you're one of very few people who froze and looks amazing in your freeze. Hello? Hi.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hi, Boo Boo. You back?
Hey there. Okay.
Hold on, wait, you're freezing again.
Okay, I'm back, but let me stabilize this.
Just keep talking.
She did freeze multiple times in the most beautiful position, I would say. That is a rare thing to do.
This is what you call photogenic. I don't have this gift. I don't have this like genetic gift to be able to, like, no matter when I freeze, it just looks amazing. So blessings to Mackenzie for that.
Oh.
Hi, beauty.
Okay. We're back in these streets. And clearly they're not safe. Okay.
But clearly, I mean, you're beautiful enough to handle it.
Your name. I mean, I love you. I hate that we're losing time, but I wanted to tell you, because I was doing like the name math. Okay, so I told you that Robin was a bright, famous one, and I put together Reborn, brought back to life or activity. I feel your purpose. Anyway, we'll talk about it on the side. Sorry, I was in a moment, and all that hate just threw me off. But anyway, let's hit let's hit it here. What was your experience like? How different was working on Sinking Ink from any of your previous theater projects?
Well, Sinking Ink, and for anyone taking this in that may not know, is an amazing play by musical, technically, by Sanju Jikam. And this is how I feel like I know you, Mackenzie, is through Sinking Ink. And shout out to you for being one of the original 2 cast members, you and Kara Young, right? Are the 2 OGs besides Sanju, and it's seen a lot of changes in terms of casting. But you and Kara are like the OGs, the originals of your roles. But working on Sinking Ink for me was different from other theater productions because it was an ensemble cast that included me in a different way than Deaf Poetry did, and Flow, and other pieces of theater that I've done with Black theater makers. So, you know, for me to be a part of everything from like the choreography to, I mean, and I just mean like, I moved when you guys moved. And not that I did any choreography because I was quick step and rock. So there you go. But I just, Sinking Ink was a production that told a story about hip hop youth culture and hip hop culture that I hadn't experienced before in the theater world. And then for my role in the piece and the play to be the conductor of all the worlds of the characters and the scenes and the set changes, again, like I never could have imagined when I started DJing, and even throughout my life as a DJ, that it was applicable in theatrical worlds, right? And I learned so much from Sinking Ink and other theater productions about everything from lighting design to timing to, you know, dramaturgy to like, there are just certain things that as a DJ you would never know if you were not in that world, you know? So a call time is a real call time. I mean, and I've had that on tour. I've had that on tour with Miss Lauryn Hill, but it's like, you know, you have things that don't apply to you when you're DJing in traditional settings as a DJ, you know? So Sinking Ink provided a space for me to be a character, but to be myself. To have input in what happened with the entire production, and to also work with extremely talented, multifaceted Black theater people that, you know, just, you guys do so many other things. Like I do one thing and everybody in Sinking Ink does a lot of different things. So it was just humbling. I learned so much from you and Kara and Arishola and Sangu and Elisha and Nuri. Like our cast was just a phenomenal group of people, and the improvisational aspect of it too. Like Sinking Ink was a joy because every night something got improvised besides the battle at the end. And if you guys have never seen Sinking Ink, hopefully it's coming back soon. I think it is. And, you know, at the end, there's like a real life freestyle battle with the 2 main characters. And, you know, they incorporate audience members. And, you know, I got to drop beats at the end for those characters that they never knew what I was going to drop. So I would drop a beat and they just had to rhyme over it. So Sinking Ink was just like this very unique experience where theater is so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so tightly designed, you know, and it's like your cues are so, you know, theater is specific. It's not so improvisational. Improvisation is a different kind of theater. So for Sinking Ink to kind of find this balance between the traditional theater structure and then improvisation was like perfect for me. So I appreciate the opportunity to have been able to freestyle as a DJ, but then also follow the order of the structure of theater with like lighting cues and, you know, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, a piece that could breathe, a living piece. Like this is like a breathing, growing, but okay. But my next question, this is gonna be random, but if we were saying, setting up the soundtrack of DJ Reborn's life, what would be the first song?
Ooh, I love and hate these questions. What would be the first song of the soundtrack of my life is the question?
Or something in the top 5. I'm not gonna give you the pressure of number 1, but in the top 5, what would be one song that would be in the soundtrack of your life? If you want to shoot for the first, go for it.
I don't like these questions. Always make me go blank. I promise you. Well, I can just tell you 2 people that come up initially more than their songs are Stevie Wonder and Prince. Songs? Oh my God. I don't know. I'm so bad at this. To be a DJ and not have like at the ready be like this song and this song and this song, I get very tripped up because the atmosphere of music that runs in my brain is so vast that I'm just like, huh? Like I just get blurry when I'm asked a question.
You got 1,000 records behind you. I don't blame you. I see right there.
Literally, I'm sorry to be a disappointment for the answer to the question. And I might blurt something out in the next like 5 minutes.
Yes, give me a good.
Yeah, let me think on it because it's so like too many things. I'm sorry, it's too many things.
Where do you find your inspiration? Where are you finding inspiration right now? In January 2021, what has opened you up? What's been the most recent source of inspiration for you?
The most recent source of inspiration to me, God, I hope this doesn't sound like a shitty answer. It's just been in resting. I don't know if this makes sense, but like this
complete sense.
This year and life is particularly exhausting for Black artists, for Black people. I'm only going to speak for myself. Let me just say, I assume it's been as exhausting for other Black artists and makers of work as it has been for me. And resting is not something that I do easily because I feel some weird guilt about resting. You know what I mean, McKenzie? So it's like, so I don't know. I mean, so one thing, resting has been an inspiration because then when I rest, I'm like, okay, I can see what I'm supposed to do if I just chill out for a little while and I get off the internet and I just meditate, right? And I just do nothing, whatever that means. My other inspiration comes from seeing my peers in the DJ world online doing amazing things, like spinning these great sets and doing beautiful things. It's like, I'm not quite as plugged in to online DJing since the pandemic. And I just like seeing the people that I enjoy show who they are through their online DJ sets. So that's been very inspiring for me too. And particularly like the Black women DJs that I love, whether it's like Remarkable or She-Rock or Natasha Diggs or Novena Carmel or Spinurita, or there's like people who are just like out here doing it and they're consistent. Monday Blue, like there's just all these amazing Black women DJs and they're my inspiration in this time too. I don't know, resting and watching my peers be great is like the most inspiring thing I think I can think of right now.
Can I ask you, like the daily double, what you can you define your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be an example of how not being perfect is perfect, of how doing the best you can with what you have is enough. And that understanding that representation and visibility matters, and that what you do with it is something that you can't even know is important, and you just do it anyway without worrying about it. You know, like, I'm grateful when I get a reflection back that what I do affects people positively. But if I don't have that reflection back, like, I want my legacy to be about learning how to give it to ourselves. You know, if we don't have it from outside of ourselves, how do we give it to ourselves with all the things that we have been born with and have learned along the way, and all the things that we have to unlearn too? You know, I want my legacy to be as much about learning as unlearning, like unlearning the things that hold us back and don't work for us, and learning and like moving forward with the things that do. Does that make sense?
It is. It makes
Can I
complete
ask
sense.
you the
And
same
everything.
question? Sorry, can I turn the question around? What do you want your
mean,
legacy to be,
we have
Mackenzie?
time, that I did everything that I thought I could do, that I stood on my word, that if I said I'm gonna be a songwriter, I wrote them damn songs. That there's a fact sheet. If I said I'm a dancer, you see that shit. If I said I'm an actress, you see that shit. If I said I'm a producer, that all the facts add up and said that whatever this woman said that she was gonna do, she did it. I wanted to be that I made and make things better than I found them. That when Mackenzie entered a space, she left it better than it was, left the energy higher, left love in the space. That everything that you said, all of that, you know, is the same thing here, that I knew how to be self-fueling, because, you know, you go outside and, you know, people have their own things to do and they may not be able to fill you up. They may not have the energy. So knowing that my spirit is strong enough to keep me fueled. So just, you know, everything that you say that you hope that your legacy will be already is, Robin. And that's what I admire about you. I sat here and wrote sheets and sheets, like sheets, pages of questions. And like this right here, no one can read it, but it says, what you have done gets me excited about the possibilities of my life. Reading your bio over and over and over got me excited even more about my life and the possibilities of just expanding. You know, it's not about the space out here, it's about the space in us. Like that's boundless. And you are a living, breathing example of that. And I thank you for being in my life and being an expression of that. And I hope that I can be a mirror of support to you. Like, yes, this is, you know, people, just whoever's watching, really, I hope that you take stock of who's around you and you thank them for whatever they pour into you, whatever inspiration, whatever words, whatever encouragement, whatever time, like any crumb, be grateful and give it back to these folks, because we don't even spend a lot of time together because schedules and things, but the quality of the time that we've spent together has impressed upon my life as someone that is down to support you. I don't even like public speaking. I get nerves, but I'm like, if it's Robin, I will show up. I will show up and throw fear to the side, because she's shown up for me. She's believed in me and supported me. And I hope that I can be the friend to you that you are to me. I thank you.
Thank you.
Long-winded, but
it is not long-winded. It's perfect, just like you are. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed and that we're forever connected. And again, I'm just gonna say it as like Black women who work in theater in our multiple capacities, in your multiple capacities, and in my capacity. It's just wonderful to have this very genuine connection. And I thank you for the inspiration that you've always given to me too, and the support. Like, you know, you were one of the grounding factors of Sinking Ink too. Everyone there was, but you know, it's like we have a different thing going on, as we're 2 of 3 women in that production. you know, so it's like we had each other's backs, and I learned so much from you and Kara, and I just, again, you as an artist, you always blow my mind with your level of creativity and just how you're always invested in your imagination, you know, like your level of internal freedom has inspired me since I've known you, and it continues to do so. So thank you for that. And thank you for providing that when you perform theatrically, because I see other people witness who you are and take it in and get something from it too.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. I love you. And I can't leave without shouting out the homie that we both love, Mr. Prince Rogers Nelson. We can't be in a public space and not shout Prince out. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'm trying to think.
Hi, Annie.
Yeah, Annie.
I'm popping in. I wish I need to share my sound and like play Purple Rain or something as you shout out to Prince. The idea of ending this makes me so sad because I could listen to you two phenomenal women like all night. And I'm sure our audience agrees. You are completely extraordinary. I was like totally moved and inspired and incredibly, incredibly grateful to both of you. So thank you for this conversation. And we're gonna post it on YouTube for anyone who might have missed it. And I'm sure so many people will be inspired. I just wanted to also thank our audience, and I hope there are 2 more nights of African Caribbean MixFest, tomorrow night and Friday night. So I hope you will join for those readings. And I just thank you women so much. Robin and Mackenzie, you are true lights in this world, and thank you. And I came in just to sort of hit the 8 o'clock mark, but wrap up as I wanted to keep us on time, but wrap up as you like in terms of ending this evening, because we are so grateful to have you with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Going back to gratitude. Thank you so much for the space and the opportunity. Thank you, Atlantic Theater Company. Thank you for the space and opportunity. Thank you, Robin, for your time and your generosity. I love you. Thank you.
Me too. Yes.
Thank you. And to Sinking Ink and to live theater and to all being partying in a room to your music soon. And to seeing you on stage, Mackenzie.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. I just want to thank Atlantic Theater and anyone that's ever given me space in the theater world. And, you know, again, we can tell stories in so many different kinds of ways. And it's such an honor as a DJ to be able to tell stories in the context of theater, which I think is so unexpected, but it's such a gift. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon and seeing all the people tuning in soon on stages and outside of stages where we can theatrically interact soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.